Hi, this is Kimberly Reuter, business advisor and supply chain expert, and welcome to my podcast, The Morning Mood. I had a really great conversation yesterday with one of my leaders from my early 20s, or actually my late 20s. What am I talking about? Like 25, 26, 27, late 20s. David Risch. David and I worked together at Rogers and Brown way back in the day when I was working in Norfolk, Virginia. And David's one of my greatest leaders and mentors. He took me under his wing early on and encouraged me to get my broker's license and encouraged me to lead an organization. And through this podcast, believe it or not, he and I reconnected. He's been listening to the podcast. Thank you very much. And we were able to connect yesterday. He is going to be on my podcast coming up soon. I'm very excited about that. Um, but we had a great conversation catching up, and he reminded me of a lesson that he taught me way back then, 30 years ago. That has been with me and been so ingrained that I didn't even realize that I learned it from him until we started talking about it. And it is sort of um a step further than what I've been talking to you guys about already. I've been talking to everybody about, the importance of I don't know, of being able, especially as a leader, to say, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. To be open, to be vulnerable, what that allows your team to do when you're able to say that I don't know. We've been talking about that, the value of I don't know in leadership. The little phrase I like to use, I don't know if I've coined it or not, is the higher you go, the less you know, and the importance of that. Because I see so many leaders or so many people who believe that, hey, I got this title. And because I got this title, I know it all. I know the shit. CEOs, SVPs, VPs, I've even seen it at the director level. And what it does when you have that culture of because I'm the boss, I know best, is you kill creativity in your organization. You are not allowing the people on your team and your organization to express themselves. You're not allowing them to create solutions, and you're not allowing them to think freely. Because basically, what you've told them is, I got it all figured out and I don't need jack shit from you when you do that. So you just turn them into little taskers. They don't have any thinking ability, they don't have anything. They're just little taskers. So it kills an organization when you have I know everything leader, which is why I preach so much about it is so important for you to be humble as a leader, to be open as a leader, to be kind as a leader, and to learn. You never stop learning. I don't care what it is that you've done in your life. I don't care what you've done. There's always an opportunity to learn something more. If you don't think it is, find something new to learn. So, what is the step further that I want to talk to you about that I learned from David? And I'm going to try to duplicate his accent, his beautiful North Carolina Appalachian accent. Now, let me just take a pause here. For any of y'all who are not from the South, there is no Southern accent. There are dozens of Southern accents. It depends on where you're from in the South, changes your accent. I personally am from the coast of Virginia, and so I have a coastal Virginia accent. Um, there's some things about rhotic R's and things like that that come from my region. But that is my true accent, is a coastal Virginia accent. Corporate beat most of it out of me. You will hear it occasionally. And I like to think that there's a little sort of sprinkle of West Virginia Appalachia in there because that is my second home. But David is from North Carolina Appalachia, and he has a very specific accent, and he also speaks very slowly and with intention. So I'm going to try to do David, and then we're going to talk about how David taught me this lesson. And David's lesson is this. David has been a big leader for many, many, many big brokerage operations. And he says this to his team. Did I get it right? And I remember that working with him all those years, he would say to me all the time, even when I was just a little itty bitty in my late 20s, just coming up in the world, a young blood, he would say to me, Kim, did I get it right? Did I get it right, Kim? Now, how that has shown up in my life, and if you've worked with me, you'll hear me say it. What am I missing? Is what I say. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Asking, what did I get wrong? The way David said it was just so charming. I love it. Did I get it right? And he asked that in every meeting, every decision, every presentation, everything. In fact, he tells his teams that it is their jobs to make sure that he's got it right because he can't possibly know everything. So this sounds a lot like, I don't know. So you're kind of like, yo, can we move on to something else? Because Kim, we've been talking about this for a while and I'm going to tell you, you're going to hear about it a couple more times. So buckle up because it is really important and you don't always get it on the first time. So why am I talking about it again? This is the next step. The first step is accepting, I don't know. As a leader, as a manager, I don't know. And then really, I'm going to give you some words to use here because I know it's hard. It is very easy to say, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me get back to you. You don't have to say I'm a dumbass. That's not what you're even saying. You're not saying I'm an idiot. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You're not saying that. What you're saying is, I don't know. Let me get back to you. Let me look into that. And it is okay for you to learn something because it's an opportunity for you to learn. So, did I get it right? Why is that different from I don't know? I don't know is a mindset. Once you accept the I don't know mindset, once you start to embrace that it is okay to say, I'm not sure, let me get back to you. The next step as a leader, and it is equally as hard as step 1, it actually doesn't get easier, is asking for the feedback. Actively, with intent, publicly, not quietly around the corner after you've gotten out of the meeting. With intent. Did I get it right? What am I missing? What did I miss? Here's my whole plan for the year. Here's everything I've thought about, blah, blah, blah. What am I missing? What didn't I think about? Please tell me. And here's the interesting conversation that David and I had was that so many leaders are resistant to that. Like, don't you dare tell me that I got it wrong. And don't you dare tell me in public. Don't you fucking embarrass me in a meeting by telling me that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And let me tell you something. I have been in meetings where the CEO was called an idiot. A fucking idiot, actually. Mhm. Yeah, that guy didn't last very long, but he was right. And if that CEO had listened to him, his company would be in a lot better position than they are today. But he was making some really big mistakes and didn't want to hear from anybody. And in a moment of break, one of the SVPs said, "You're a fucking idiot." And he was, and he is to this day. Okay? But he couldn't take that feedback. So he continued to lead his company down the shitty path. And that's what David and I got into. Let me tell you something. If I am leading an organization and you see a big fucking red flag, tell me. Don't lead me down a 9-mile road of fuckery just to find out that we didn't have the right shit together. That's how you need to think about it. As a leader, as an employee giving the feedback. Hey, I'm telling you this because I don't want us to fuck it up. I see something. I want to talk about it. Did we think about it? And hey, you know what? Maybe you did think about it. And this is what you say as a leader. When someone does give you that feedback and says, hey, did you think about this? Hey, Ben, thanks. I appreciate you bringing that up. We did address that. Here's the solution that we came up with. Do you think that's valid? Do you think that'll work? Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate you participating. You do not go to that person and be like, hey, we already fucking thought about that. Why are you late to the table? Any contribution is valuable contribution. No, there's some caveats there. We'll get into that at a later time. Anyway, So, the active step 2 of asking, "Did I get it right?" is the door opening to your organization, to your team, to your leaders, to the people that you lead, to anyone in your personal life, in your professional life, anywhere. Did I get it right? Opens that conversation for them to feel safe because you have asked, and for you to be open to receive that feedback. And when you create this environment of open, I know I'm the big cheese. I got a lot of responsibility on me. I'm not going to get it right all the time. I need you guys to help me make sure I've got it right so that we're all doing it right. When you open that, when you bring your organization into that, you create a collaborative environment that is produces some of the cleanest, well thought out business processes and plans I have ever seen. Because when you're crafting the message, when you're working together on a daily basis, every single day, David didn't ask this question once a year. He didn't ask it once a month. He didn't ask it once a week. He asked it every damn day. Did I get it right? Did I get it right? I'm pretty sure he has that same philosophy on his personal life just the same way I do every day. Did I get it right today? Did I get it right? Asking for your team to participate and add to your thought process is one of the most powerful and inclusive and humble things that you can do as a leader. And I hate to tell you this, but I'd say about 20% of the leaders I know and have worked with can do it. It is a rare breed of leader who can accept that they don't know everything. That's a big one. And I would say maybe 50% of the leaders actually get there, where they can finally accept they don't know everything. Okay, maybe I don't know everything, right? And I'm gonna tell you this because I actually have a very interesting experience with this, because when I was at Amazon, I was the only one besides Mike McKenna who knew anything about international logistics, supply chain, brokerage, freight forwarding, any of it. 2 people in the whole company. Now, at the time, as I've mentioned to you, we had 6,000 corporate employees, so it was a small organization. And I was building it, but no one knew about it. Jeff doesn't understand it. He probably understands it now. And I wouldn't say that he didn't understand it because he's a smart man and I'm sure he fucking got it. But he didn't really understand the nuances of it because it's not his industry. But you know what? Jeff Bezos asked questions. Jeff Bezos stayed curious about international supply chain even when he didn't understand it. Yeah. Yep. Had lots of conversations. Exchange rates, why people do this, what affects buying and selling, everything. Smartest man in the world, built one of the biggest companies in the world, had questions. He was open to not being the subject matter expert. I can't express to you enough how much of a difference that makes and what it allows your organization to do. It allows them to breathe. It allows them to feel safe. It allows them to go to their meetings and say, did I get it right? What am I missing? And when you perpetuate this, when you grow this, when you start to cultivate this culture, and it's almost a culture of infinite curiosity, is really kind of what you could think about it as infinite curiosity. When you create and cultivate this culture of, did I get it right? It starts with you and it starts with your organization. And then when they go to other meetings and other organizations, they start with, did I get it right? And then they feel safe. And then they start to collaborate more and share more ideas and make better plans because everybody's participating, because they feel heard, and because their leader said, I don't know everything. Did I get it right? And then that person goes to another meeting and goes to another meeting and goes to another meeting. And before you know it, you have a culture of people who are helping each other get it right. You heard it right here. I said it. Plant the seed, and you will have a culture of people trying to get it right, trying to help each other get it right. Step one, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me. I don't know. Please tell me. This is not my area of expertise. Please tell me. I don't know. Now, when I say I don't know, like for many other people, we have a lot of experience. And so maybe we don't specifically know about that, but we have things that are, tangential or adjacent that apply. So, we pretty quickly pick it up. But number one is I don't know. It's step one. And if you're brave enough, if you're strong enough to be part of that 20%, did I get it right? It's powerful. And I thank you, David, for teaching me that lesson very young. And then I carried it with me. What am I missing? Tell me now. Don't tell me when we're halfway up the mountain because we can't go back down. You got to tell me now. And it's your job to make sure that your leader has got it right. Thank you, my peeps. Thank you for being here. David is going to be on a podcast with his wonderful North Carolina accent. In a month or so, he's got some traveling coming on, but we're going to set that up. And thank you for being here. More soon, and we will chat tomorrow.